Welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. So let me start out by saying that the Miss Universe beauty pageant has finally gotten it right. Finally gotten it right. Now, before we go into why I am saying they have finally gotten it right, we're going to talk about a few things. All right. Not to mention, congratulations to the new Miss Universe for 2019, who is a South African woman that looks like the average South African. It's indigenous people and not a European who is representing a colonized land. Now, first of all, this picture right here that you're looking at right now, right? If you look all the way to the left of the screen, you'll see Miss South Africa. This Miss South Africa was 2017 Miss Universe. Now, if you look at her, there's no way that she represents South Africa. She represents colonization in South Africa. For me, she brings back memories of apartheid in South Africa. The nerve to put someone like this to represent South Africa. Anyways, looking all the way to the right of the screen now, you're looking at who represented Jamaica in that same year. Beautiful, natural, black woman, right? Okay, moving right along, you will see that a Caucasian representing a African country has never sat well. But this is the way that they've always played it. Also in Jamaica is the way that they've played it most of the time, because most of the time we're represented by these mixed race, light skinned, light eye color looking people who truly does not represent the masses of the people in Jamaica. Right? So after seeing this Miss Universe contest, and seeing who won and the merit on which she won, then I am definitely here to say they did a good job in choosing this time. But I can't help but to think that times are changing. And the only reason why they did is because people are waking up and are paying attention. Now the world is ran by the internet. So people from all corners of the globe can actually tune in and put their information in, and they have a committee that reads all these comments when they come in. So the committee is saying, wow, you know, like we had thousands of comments from black people all across the globe saying that our last Miss Universe, which represented South Africa, she did not really represent South Africa, but she represented an apartheid time in South Africa, or the takeover of the Europeans in South Africa, and damage that was done then to the indigenous people of South Africa. So how about this time we pay them some reparations by putting someone in that represents South Africa and looks more like the people in South Africa. Funny that they should win, when at this time, I think this is also a distraction, because there are things going on in South Africa right now, like Africans fighting other Africans. Africans fighting other Africans, especially in South Africa. You have black people that are turning against their own people because they're from a different part of the continent. They're being beaten in the streets, dragged, mobbed, lynched. And that was not a part of Miss South Africa / Miss Universe speech. She didn't try to raise awareness on this current issue there. And I think they gave us her to make us think all is well with the world in South Africa, because a white woman won it representing South Africa in 2017, and then 2018. I believe it was a Filipino, and then 2019, it's another South African, and this time it's a real South African. Anyhow, I'll say congratulations to her again. And again, I think the Miss Universe pageant has finally gotten it right. Now, let's take a look at the female that represented Jamaica. Let it be known that in 2017, Jamaica went to the top 3. Davina went to the top 3, almost winning the competition for Miss Universe, right? This year, she did not even make it into the top 20. Now, I'm seeing stuff online that she's a 19-year-old and she's fragile and she's far away from home and she needs the support of the nation and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking, this is the road you chose. And yes, it's rough. But the whole debate came about surrounding her heritage and her outfit. The outfit itself, I will get to in a minute. So, here's the debate surrounding her heritage. She was quoted at one time as saying that she does not identify with being black. Right? And a lot of people were offended. But after reading further into the article, she said basically that the same thing that Bob Marley said when they asked Bob Marley if he was black or if he was white or whatever. And Bob said, he's not on the side of the black man and he's not on the side of the white man. He's on the side of the God that made him to come from black and white. Which, you can't get a better answer than that. And what she actually said in the article was that she hates to be called black because when people call her black, it's disregarding her white side of her heritage or her white mother per se, or one parent. One parent is white. I don't know if it's the mother or the father. One parent is white and one parent is black. So for us to call her black is for us to disregard that she had one of her parents. And for us to call her white, she also said she doesn't want to be called white either. She's a mixed girl and that's all it is. And that is exactly right. She's mixed. I myself have a daughter, and my daughter's mom is German, European, German, Caucasian, and myself, you already see what I am. So I have to balance the scales with my daughter and let my daughter know that you're not black, baby girl, and you're not white. Okay? Don't disregard any part of your heritage. Proudly let people know that you're a child of mixed heritage and you know exactly where your mom's from and her heritage, and you know exactly where your dad's from and his heritage and background as well. Now, moving right along. The thing that beats a lot of Jamaican people is this. We've been sitting around for a very long time watching light skin, mixed race looking, or Hispanic looking, or anybody with light color eyes and fairly thin lips and pokey straight nose and a certain hair texture put on a stage to represent a nation of people that majority of them do not look like the people that are put out front to represent them. And that in itself has always been an issue. The thing is, in Jamaica, our motto is out of many, one people. And a lot of people run with that because they're saying most Jamaicans are of mixed heritage anyways. Most Jamaicans have some black, some this in them, some that in them, some other in them. Well, that could be true, but when you look on that world stage, on that Miss Jamaica Universe, and that Miss Universe stage, you're very rarely ever represented. And whoever is there very rarely ever resembles the masses of the people, right? And that's always been an issue. Now, some Jamaicans will tell you like this, oh, shut up. I don't care if she's white. She's representing us. She's representing Jamaica. But in actuality, when you go to Jamaica and you look around, you'll realize that there are white Jamaicans. There are Jamaicans of mixed heritage everywhere. They are just not the majority of the population because the majority of the population are dark-skinned black people, right? Or at least brown-skinned black people, not light-skinned, brown-skinned black people. So darker than the paper bag, okay? Now, this whole dress, this is how it ties into the dress that she wore. When I saw the dress, I said to myself, this cannot be the dress that they are going to use to represent Jamaica in the Miss. I was flabbergasted. I said, this cannot be the dress that they're going to use to represent Jamaica in this Miss Universe competition. Cannot be. The dress for me, without talking about what it represents, because we're going to get there, and her heritage and how she might have felt that was okay. The dress for me represented colonization. It represented slavery. It represented a time gone by that was not a good time in our history, right? So it wasn't representing anything about our strength as a nation, our beauty as a nation. It was more or less grand staging a former slave master. Now, when I first saw the dress, I thought, what was that big Christmas tree looking thing on the top of her head? Those of you who put Christmas trees up, you know at the top of the Christmas tree where you crown your Christmas tree, you might put a star, you might put whatever you put up there at the top. That thing on her head looked just like that. And the rest of the outfit looked like some Hispanic, from the waist down, it looked like some Hispanic mariachi or bullfighter, and her name is Garcia. So that's a Hispanic name, so it came out as she was representing a different culture and not Jamaican culture. And then the feathers and stuff around the neck kind of reminded me of a carnival outfit. Okay? Are we in the Brazilian carnival? Are we in Trinidad carnival? This just looked like a carnival outfit to me. And it did not represent what we thought should have been represented on this stage. Right? So here we are looking at this, and the Jamaican people, they took to social media on this one, and they were going off. And they were going off because this was, the theme for this outfit was Annie Palmer, the White Witch of, or the Wicked White Witch of Rose Hall. Yes. On a grand stage like the Miss Universe pageant, Annie Palmer, the Wicked White Witch of Rose Hall. Or did they say the White Witch of Rose Hall? Either way, she's white and she's a witch. If she was white, a witch, and she's wicked in the story, whether that story was real or it's all fables, we don't care. We know what the story, how the story was told throughout our entire lives. We do not want to rehash the story. We know that the plantation property is still there, it still exists, and we know how they came about owning it. We know what happened on that plantation to people of color. So we give no rejoicing, no exaltation to the representation of those who controlled things in that time period. And I can't help but to think that although she is young, because I believe Miss who represented us this year was about 19 years old, I think. So although she's young, she's still intelligent, and she's still intelligent enough to know that this is not a good representation of us. Or maybe she is one of them uptown girl that not really connected to the culture. Because let's be honest, in Jamaica, colorism is one thing, but classism is huge. And you will have the blackest Jamaican, but because he has money and he has clout and he rubs elbows with the who's of who's and what's of what's, and he lives at a certain place in Jamaica in a certain status group, then he will have children with a white woman or a lighter skinned woman or an Indian woman, and he'll produce all these light skinned babies. And he will even tell them, and even the dark skinned ones who live at that level will tell them stuff like, don't bring any ghetto people into the family, you know, and these kind of things, like stay away from them downtown people there, you know, because we're not into that kind of lifestyle. And you know, everybody for them is, you're that and we're this. You know, so I don't know if she came up under that. I can't say what went on in her growing up and what she was taught, but I'm trying to wrap my mind around how she thought that this was okay. And I'm sure she was not the one that picked this dress all by herself. I am sure there was a team that thought that it was okay for this dress to be the representation of. And lo and behold, they found out on social media that it wasn't. Her response to a lot of people and a lot of comments concerning this dress and the title of the whole ensemble about the Witch of Rose Hall and the White Witch of Rose Hall and all that, it further showed people that she was out of touch with the common Jamaican, the normal Jamaican, the normal citizen, the day-to-day persons. And I know she's probably sitting somewhere saying, but I'm a normal Jamaican. I'm a day-to-day person. Jamaica is my whole life. I'm born and raised here and all this. But yes, you have people that are born and raised there, but they turn their noses up at some of the intricate parts of our culture. For instance, a lot of people from uptown, they turn their noses up at dance hall. They call it Bugoyaga music. They turn their noses up at people that live in a certain area. They don't even hire you if you go to their establishment and you put that as your address. Because if you're from that area, then you must be like whatever bad happens in that area. So no, we won't hire you here. They don't do business with a certain set of people simply based on where they live. You understand? So it's like that. And these are the harsh realities that we have to face. I hated the dress. When I saw the dress, I thought she was beautiful. And I thought she could have very well explained her heritage and then have tied it into something more intricate like, well, you know, in Jamaica, out of many, one people is our motto. And this is what she should have been like. In Jamaica, out of many, one people is our motto. And me, myself, is a prime example of that because I'm from a mixed heritage. This parent is Caucasian and this parent is of African descent and blah blah, or Caribbean, blah blah, whatever you want to explain, and tie it all back into a one love theory, a universal theory. But she didn't. She got defensive and she doubled down on the dress. Nobody wants to have a conversation about it. So if they're thinking this opened up a conversation about anything, no, it closed the conversation. We hate the dress. We hate what the dress represented. And for that reason, she didn't even make it into the top 20 this year, right? So with that said, we don't want to see no more of these. We look forward to seeing the day when the people in Jamaica who choose Miss Jamaica, who goes on to represent us on an international level in, say, the Miss Universe pageant, we hope that they begin to get off their high horses, get out of their colorism, get out of their all the other isms that they use when they go about picking these light-skinned, light eye color, thin-lipped people to represent Jamaica when the land is majority people that looks nothing like the individual you're using to represent them. All right? We're looking forward to seeing that day come. To the young lady who modeled this dress, I only wish that you had a different concept, and I myself, I'm not blaming you. You were young, the stage was high, it was a grand stage, and you went out there and you did your thing to the best of your ability, led by people who should have known better. All right. So shout out to all my Jamaican people out there, and shout out to all my South African people out there, the indigenous South Africans, not the descendants of those who lived under apartheid and benefited from it and said nothing on our behalf. Shout out to the indigenous people of South Africa, black South Africans, real South Africans, not the Afrikaners, all right? And shout out, of course, to the beautiful Miss Universe 2019. Little black girls can now look in South Africa and say, wow, so she won Miss Universe. We truly are beautiful. We can be beautiful and recognized around the universe as beautiful, because a lot of them were in recent times beaten down for their natural appearance. All right. I'm out. Peace.